A young billionaire once said,
If God is all powerful, he cannot be all good. And if he is all good, then he cannot be all powerful.
Now, I don't think James Gunn has quite reached billionaire status, but I do think he subscribes to the most controversial quote from 2016's most controversial movie. I wanted to love Gunn's new Superman film, and initially,
I thought she was good. Yeah.
but something was keeping me from feeling that. Some loved it, some hated it, and some were indifferent. But the criticism that stood out most from all the noise was that Superman was kind of an impotent, insubstantial, limp-wristed pansy.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Now, it's no hot take to say that Supes has been in many fights over the years, and has traded blows with the biggest and the baddest. But rarely could his bouts be described as this one-sided. The man's got no hands, and more importantly, he's a pretty incapable superhero outside of saving people, which, of course, is very important. Now, I do understand the attempt to make Supes feel more on the back foot, to give him some kind of legitimate threat. But instead of making him smart and Lex Luthor smarter, they just made him dumb. In the film, Lex Luthor releases a kaiju to distract Superman while he engages in some nefarious plotting. At the point that we come into the battle, Superman seems to be kind of at a loss for what to do. Punching the monster only results in it almost smashing into buildings, and he also has to constantly save the dogs, squirrels, and people who keep standing way too close because
the people are retarded.
I assume this Superman is just too weak to carry it out of the city, so what is he to do? Apparently just turn to Mr. Terrific and say,
Help me!
So in the end, Mr. Terrific just kills the thing. Superman is all sad because he's, of course, a big pro-lifer. But because he never came up with an alternative solution, the whole sequence just made him seem incapable. Now, I initially thought they were giving Superman a failure that he would later learn from, but no. This scene and the movie at large kind of makes a case against the all-powerful nice guy who doesn't want to hurt anybody. Now, again, I must stipulate, not wanting to hurt people or kaijus is good. But unless he's able to come up with alternate solutions, it just makes him come across as uncreative and cowardly. A coward, by definition, is someone who lacks the courage to do or endure dangerous or unpleasant things. Unpleasant things like killing a city-destroying kaiju when there's no other options available. Superheroes with a no-kill rule still have to be capable of solving the problems in some way. Otherwise, what good are they? In the beginning, we are given the information that Superman has, for the first time, gotten laid out by some guy named the Hammer of Barovia. Now, the word first obviously implies that Big Blue has gone undefeated until this point. But the word undefeated can mean a lot of things. Undefeated can mean you've gone 100-0 against a bunch of limp-wristed, spineless namby-pambies. And unfortunately, I think that's the case here. We know nothing about how that first fight went, other than it ended in Supes in the Yamcha pose. So let's hop to round 2, where Supes will hopefully do a lot better. Well, that was weird. But what's even weirder is this exchange that's sprinkled throughout the fight.
It's like he knows Superman's every move before he makes it.
All what moves? Getting choked out? Or getting choked out upside down? Or getting Sasuke slammed into the ground? He doesn't even attempt to fight back here. But 102 is still a pretty good record, so I bet he'll do better in the next round. The fight opens with Superman getting tackled into a stadium. And Supes does something I've never seen him do before against the Hammer of Barovia. He fights back.
How about that?
He even puts in a little work on the engineer. Mind you, he doesn't land a single punch here and still basically gets his cheeks clapped. But hey, progress? I also like the fact that he's trying to appeal to her humanity here. The problem is that it makes him look stupid. Without fail, he gets caught off guard again and again and again. making every bout feel less like a fight scene and more like a series of humiliation rituals that make his inevitable victory increasingly unbelievable. The final round starts with Superman taking another 11 unanswered hits. 11, mind you. Arms down, no attempted blocks, no counters or dodges. It's like his second kryptonite is getting choked.
Kinky.
And when he starts to actually fight back, it all just felt arbitrary. Like, why now? When the villains had his hands around your throat so many times uncontested that I just assumed y'all had a safe word, what am I supposed to think? But the biggest letdown came when Superman, after his fourth session of getting beat like he stole something, just looks to his dog like,
Help me!
And remember, he only brought the dog to keep it from killing his parents' cow. So this whole moment,
Oh, what are you smirking at, you idiot?
Brain beats brawn.
is bullshit. Not to mention the fact that he could have called the dog at any point during this generational spanking. But just to add insult to injury,
You watch him through those? Tell him what to do?
did he not notice him before, or did he just think Lex liked to watch?
No! It's just dumb.
Also, if he can both hear and talk to Luthor during this scene,
You was relatively simple. All it took was combing the aftermath of your battles until I located a strand of your hair.
That's how you got into the fortress.
then how can he not also hear him screaming over and over again? Because if he can, that means he heard every attack announced before their execution and still got hit by, hold on, let me do a few calculations.
2x. Stronger. 2a. 1a.
Look how they massacred my boy.
When you play a video game or watch any action movie that involves a lot of fighting, the henchmen usually come before the boss. These guys are there to let the hero flex before things get difficult. But for some reason, James Gunn decided to do it in reverse. After watching his face and nuts get kicked in over and over again, they just called back the henchmen, essentially putting the game on easy mode. Now, I know it's always sound advice to save the best for last, but that requires something, anything more than nothing to precede it. Like a grand finale after 2 hours of watching kids throw poppets on the ground, it all just felt so unearned. If you look at something like Man of Steel, there are a lot of moments where he has to earn the win on his own. Earn the win against Zod. Earn the trust of humanity. Earn the win against the World Engine. We want to see him dig for that inner strength when all hope seems lost. Not constantly look at every problem with the attitude of,
Good gosh, there's gotta be a better way to do this.
only to never find that actual better way. Now, I don't think it's unfair to want Superman to save the day in a movie titled Superman. However, in Gunn's film, the guy doing all the actual day saving is the man, the myth, Mr. Terrific.
This is the master thesis.
He stops the city from splitting in two. He stops the kaiju from destroying the city. And has the standout action scene of the entire movie. Superman's best action scene is just saving a baby. Mind you, it is my personal favorite action scene in the entire movie, so don't get it twisted. But saving people should only be the tip of the iceberg of what he does. And if you're thinking, well, he inspired the Justice Gang to stop a war.
That is true.
But by that rationale, he also inspired them to just straight up murder a world leader.
This is also true.
I think James Gunn made the same mistake all non-Superman fans make when trying to write him. They weaken or dumb him down instead of giving him a proper dilemma. Sure, he should have to deal with physical threats, but in the end, his biggest struggle should be a moral one. When Gunn heavily promoted All-Star Superman as his inspiration, I was given the impression that he understood the basic infrastructure of a good Superman story. But I guess the only thing he really wanted from that comic was Frank Wiley's admittedly beautiful aesthetics. There's also the problem of Superman's shared wins. Now, Supes has never been one to need credit for saving the day, but we as the audience need to feel like he earned his own wins in the end. His battle with the kaiju? Shared with Mr. Terrific. His win against Ultraman? Shared with Krypto. Heck, his win saving the baby is shared with Krypto and Metamorpho. And Superman's most effective fighting tactic is kamikazing himself into the earth while being choked to death. There comes a point in every good Superman story when we get to see the dog.
Down!
The reminder that you're dealing with a man who can rip realities apart. A man who turns his head to keep you from breaking your hand after you punch him. But do not mistake his nice for soft. He is, in fact, him. And the 2025 movie made me forget that. Now, everyone's favorite quote in this movie seems to be,
"You trust everyone and think everyone you've ever met is, like, beautiful."
Maybe that's the real punk rock.
and I think there's great truth in this statement. But simply having a positive, loving outlook on life doesn't equate to actual change. Positivity and good vibes didn't save this woman. Hard grit and determination did. Positivity and good vibes didn't stop the city from splitting in two. Raw technical intellect did. Punk rock, in a nutshell, is a call to action. And in the book of James chapter 2, verse 26, it states, "As the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds, without action, is dead." I didn't want to walk out of Superman thinking, well, at least he did his best.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best.
I want to see him decisively save the gosh darn day. Snap necks and cash checks, so to speak. While Superman is not God, and would never claim to be, he is supposed to be the impossibly overpowered nice guy that can save the day at least 90% of the time. But for some reason, Mr. Gunn thought that percentage was way too high. Apparently to Mr. Gunn, it is also a binary. You can either be super good or be super capable. You can't be both.
1, 2, 3,